Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar on reporting tips and tricks with Velixo. We're thrilled to have you all in attendance to learn about how we all can use our single source of truth that is Acumatica to generate reports in Microsoft Excel and have that information translated back into Acumatica to give you the best view of your business while also being able to use the ease of Excel to do your reporting. Before we jump into the content of today's call, I'll just run through some quick introductions. So I'm Strati Mustakais, as many of you have seen me on previous webinars. I'm PC Bennett's marketing manager. I'm joined on today's call by Jeremy Meyer, Velixo's channel sales manager. And then we also have Puria, who is their director of services and support. They are some of the best people to give you these Velixo tips and tricks, and we really hope you're able to glean some valuable information from this call. Before we jump into the actual content, just the usual reminder that I provide everyone, we will have the chat and Q&A feature enabled. So if you have any questions, please feel free to send them, and then we'll try to answer them to the best of our ability on today's call. And if not, we'll have your CSM, whether it be Karen or Ben, follow up with you to make sure that you're getting all the information you need. That's kind of it from my end. I'm going to mute and go camera off, and I'll just hand it over to the folks at Velixo, and they're going to take you through today's demonstration. Guys, over to you.
Thank you so much. Well, welcome everybody. We really do appreciate you coming into today's webinar. So I am Jeremy, as I was introduced. We have Puria as well. So really today, because we have a kind of a mixed audience, because we have people that are existing Velixo, we have people that are new to Velixo. So we're going to kind of give a quick overview. There may be some outliers that may be helpful for those existing users today. But really what we're going to do is really drive into some more complex reports. So we'll go into some different dashboards. I'm going to show you a couple of those as we kind of go through this. But then I'm going to give the baton over to Puria, who is going to go in and kind of get into more of a deeper dive into doing, again, some of those more complex reports that you may be craving to utilize within Velixo. So let's get started. So number one, and this is definitely more so for the new people to Velixo, is, of course, everything that you have within Acumatica that you work with PC Bennett to kind of create that environment, or you're building yourself, that's the foundation. So you're going to be able to take Velixo and take any of that information that you have within Acumatica and utilize it. Okay. Second part of it is you're able to push that data. So what I mean by that is you can actually use it for forecasting or rate back capabilities. So you could use this for, let's say you wanted to use it for budgets. We also have something called the generic write back, where you can kind of create your own import scenarios. So just to give you kind of some examples of how that could be helpful, you can use this with, say like price lists. Those are really handy. Sales orders, purchase orders, we can kind of customize things, create that template, and then push it over. I'll kind of show you what that looks like later on. But first and foremost, I have to definitely tell you, we're not taking away your Excel. That's not something we do. We are an Excel add-in. That's all we are. We're going to give you over 90 plus functions to play around with. And that doesn't include all the features that are added on within there. But again, it's just a quick download to get started. Okay. In terms of where we stand in the Acumatica marketplace, we are the #1 solution. We are on G2 reviews, and we have case studies. Saying all of what I've just said, we will be providing you with like a kind of a goodie bag afterwards with a lot of links, tips and tricks, of course, is the theme today. And we're going to be able to help you out with some samples, templates, things of the sort to kind of get you going. Okay. So let me just try and move this slide here. So this is kind of the summary that I've just kind of gone over. Things to take in consideration. Again, we are, from the financial point of view, you'll be able to use GL, but also AR, AP. From there, you can also use things like inventory, the generic inquiries, the GIs. So again, you don't have to leverage like SQL queries. You're just going to use functions to be able to do that. So you could take ginormous lists. So let's say you work with a bunch of vendors or suppliers. You can just go in, shrink down those lists, and just send those out to different managers in a very easy way. It's kind of like a 3-step method. In terms of distributing the reports as well, internally, externally, you can do that. You can do that in any format that you like. So whether that's Excel with Velixo, you could just do PDFs, screenshots, and then you can distribute those in a kind of a more specific way. So you can actually say, oh, well, I've got 10 managers and they take up these different regions. Well, you can be very specific in terms of what that information is being sent to really save you a lot of time. Okay, so from there, it is an unlimited sale user model. So keep that in mind, just like Acumatica. So you're dialed in there. And again, I mentioned from an IT perspective, 30-second download, you're done. And then in terms of all the security, all the permissions and access are controlled by Acumatica. So you don't have to do any work there. So the key here is you don't want a guy like me pushing back data because I'm a sales guy. Just never a good idea. Okay, so these are some of the things that we're going to kind of cover in the tips and tricks. So really want you to be involved with this and engage as much as possible if you can. So if you have any questions, just shoot them over and we can kind of hopefully do them on the fly. So these are some of the pain points that kind of occur. A lot of it's to do with that manual process. Really what we want you to do is kind of create a library of reports that you can kind of recycle and reuse as you see fit. I'm going to stress a lot about templates and drop-down menus. In fact, I'll even send over a little video for you to kind of help you out how you can leverage these drop-down menus as well. Because really you eliminate a lot of mistakes, but also a lot of time. Because if you're, say, in the finance team, you can send this out to anyone, and I'd hope they'd be able to figure out how to use a drop-down menu, right? Biggest thing to know and understand as well is we do want to eliminate a lot of that untruthful data. Again, that's solved with our API, where it has that nice connection between Acumatica and Velixo. From there, any type of consolidation that you want to handle, like whether it's companies, divisions, departments, branches, anything under the sun you're able to handle. You can do like comparisons between actual and budgets, things of the sort. Everything is live and refreshable. And to kind of get an idea and a feel for this, and this is kind of the last thing I'll kind of direct towards I guess the newbies, we'll call them, is we kind of have two buckets. So one is a self-serve bucket where we have a ton of resources, and that's kind of similar to what I'm going to send over with that goodie bag. We also have 100 videos on YouTube as well to help you along your way. The other kind of angle on that is that we kind of have the hand holding. So if you need training, if you need, help kind of building out those reports, because you always have to look at kind of your current and your future reports, and then we can kind of take those and plug them in using those Velixo functions to get you started. Again, wrapping that all up, we do have support as well. So again, non-IT centric reports, not something where you have to kind of hire an additional person. If you're already proficient with Excel, you might be able to even pick this up in a couple days. It's just that quick. Again, the game changers, I think we've already kind of covered those. So these are some of our customers. We have about 2,000 now. You notice that Acumatica is one of them. So just so you know, in terms of like patches, fixes, new versions, we are always up to date with Acumatica. We're completely industry agnostic. To give you an idea of scale, I always use KFC as an example because, it's football season. So we got about 150 locations and 50 tenants on that. All right. So you're not restricted to the tenants that you may want to have. There's no extra cost for that. So if you do want to have, say, a sandbox environment, you can absolutely do that. Okay, so we're ready to go into the demo. This is just a kind of a taste of kind of what you would see in terms of dashboards and the reports that you kind of can put together. I really want you to keep in mind, if you are new to Velixo, that it's about a 3-month swing for achieving the ROI and the solution. It is very quick, just because once you get going and understand how to use the functions, it's just going to be a breeze for you. Okay, so I am going to switch screens here. So I'm going to stop sharing for 1 second, and then I'm going to just show you some Excel real quick, and then I'm going to let Priya take over. 1 second. Okay. Hoping we have questions. Okay, so what I want to do first and foremost, you should see my Excel right now. So this is just plain Excel, okay? Through the magic of the demo, I am going up and showing you that this is the Velixo ribbon, okay? So within here, you'll find that you now have the ability to do a full refresh or a smart refresh. Smart refresh is only going to refresh what you've done since you last logged in. You have the ability to drill down. The drill down is super slick in the sense that it not only just drills down to kind of the first layer, you're actually going to be able to go all the way into Acumatica to go to the exact place that you're looking for. Distribution is here. We've got all those different abilities to actually write things back. So you've got journal transactions, budget, project forecast, and that generic write back that I mentioned before. And then you've got all these tools and all the help, as I mentioned before. So the only thing that I'm allowed to show, because Priya doesn't trust my ability to put together a proper report, I'm just kidding, is to show you how to actually connect. And so the reason why I'm doing this is because for right now, if you're just using Velixo, it's just Excel. So you would just go into the connection manager, and then all you would do is you would fill out your name, and it would always be short because you're always going to reference it when you go through your functions. You put your URL, and that's your Acumatica instance URL. And then for the username and password, you're just going to put in what your password is for Acumatica. You can always have remember me, and then you can connect, and you can always have single sign-on if you want to as well. Once you've done all of that, then you would be connected. So that's all I wanted to show on that instance. And then all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to close out of this, is I'm just going to show you the ability to go in and just show you some dashboards. So just so you have an idea, this is kind of something that you could kind of put on the front. You can slice and dice as you see fit. So maybe you're trying to create visibility with your sales team. And again, we're just creating visuals for you right now. Get you thinking and then ask questions as we do this demo. So, maybe you're trying to figure out, is the sales team doing well? Of course, you want to know that. And then you want to see maybe how each individual is doing, maybe towards their quota, things like that. But then you can, again, slice and dice by region if you like, have maps, things like that. Again, these are all things that you would have normally. But then what you're going to then be able to do is kind of go under the hood with Velixo, and that's where kind of the power kind of is resonating. So if I go within here, I'm going to go into, I'm going to show you one more, I think. Find it. Oops, wrong one. Go. Hold on a second. There we go. So this is just a project report right in here. So again, this is one that I think Peru might dig a little bit deeper into. But again, you have the ability to slice and dice within this. And then what you can do is then take this information, dig deeper, and then you can actually go into your separate projects and kind of see where everything is. So just to give you an idea, you could have all your projects listed within here, have drop-down menus within here as well, switch and change these as you see fit, and then collect that information. You can also do things like the write back scenario where you can actually forecast with these particular entities so that you can kind of have an idea of whether you're on track for your budget and if you need to kind of change things on the fly. Maria, are you ready for me to switch over? Do we have any questions first and foremost? I just wanted to quickly just show what it could look like just to get started. Did we have any questions in the chat at all?
I haven't seen any pop up, so I think we can head into the next part of the demonstration.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
I tried for you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Jeremy. I'm Purya. I manage our support and professional services at Velixo. For today, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen to showcase a few, I would say, ad hoc reports that we've built for our clients. You might find certain aspects of these reports useful based on your Acumatica instance. So I'll try to showcase a few reports from different industries. The first report that I'd like to showcase is a P&L, a profit and loss report. There are two different approaches to a P&L report that we'll be covering today. The first report that we're now looking at is a trailing 12-month profit and loss report. We have a few filters that are tailored for that specific client's account. So you might want to use the same set of filters, or you might prefer having different filters for your account. At the end of the day, it's going to be feasible with Velixo. I'd like to mention that everything that we see today works in a live manner. And what I mean by that is, for example, this drop-down menu is showing us a list of companies. This is one of the filters that this report has. We're looking at 4 companies on the list, and that's because they currently have 4 companies in their Acumatica instance. If they ever decide to add a couple of new companies to their Acumatica instance, they just need to open this file, go to the Velixo ribbon, and press the refresh button, and in just a few seconds, they'll see the new company showing up on the report. Also, if they select the company, they'll see the values being generated in just a matter of seconds for the new company that they just added to their instance. So this specific report has a few filters. The first filter is tenant. This client, they have 2 tenants or 2 Acumatica instances. This file allows us to toggle between different tenants. We could also select the ledger that we'd like to run the report for. So right now the report is generating the results from the actual ledger. I can simply switch to a budget, and now you see that in just a second we're now looking at the values coming from the actual the budget ledger. I'm going to switch back to actual because we happen to have more transactions under the actual ledger. We could select a company and see the results being generated for the selected company, or even more granular, we could select a specific branch under a company and see the results for the selected branch. I'm going to switch to another branch, and you see in just a second, we're now looking at a trailing 12-month P&L for the branch that I just selected. The next filter is very specific to their instance. Customer type simply translates to a segment of their sub-account structure. So I can select a customer type and see the results for that for any sub-accounts, any transactions with a sub-account with the matching segment that we've selected. Could toggle to another segment value, or simply leave it empty and see the results regardless of sub-account, or basically for all sub-accounts. Also, we have an as of period. I've currently selected as of 5/23. It means that we're looking at the results from 6/22 to 5/23. If I want to toggle to a different value, it's as simple as selecting another value. I'm going to select 8/23, and you see that in just a second, we're now looking at a P&L from 9/22 to 8/23. And the same as the drop-down menus, everything on the report itself is also working in a live manner. If you, let's say you change you create new transactions in Acumatica, or you correct the existing transactions, you just need to refresh the file right after you make the change in Acumatica, and the changes will be reflected on the report right away in just a matter of seconds. The next report won't take that long. It's basically the same report, except for the fact that instead of having a trailing 12-month format, we have 1 column per a branch and company. So the ones where the font is bold are companies, and the one where the font is not bold are branches. So for example, this company only has 1 branch under it, but this company has 4 branches that roll up to this company, and then all the companies with an elimination company roll up to the consolidated values. So what we can do here, since we already have a column per company and branch, we do not have the options to select a company or branch. We do have the option still to select a tenant, but we can also define the financial period range as we wish. So for now, I've decided to run the report from 1/23 to 12/23, so a kind of year to date. If I would like to run a quarter to date report, it's as simple as switching to 7/23. Now the report is being run from, I'm sorry, not 7, but that's the next quarter, 10/23. So now we're looking at the quarter at a quarterly type of report from 10/23 to 12/23, and there are no limitations. I can simply decide to see the results from, let's say, 1/22 to 12/23, or anything else of that nature. That wraps up this report. I'm going to check the chat. Do we have any questions so far regarding this report?
Oh, we're fine right now. We're good.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to switch to the next report. The next report that I'd like to showcase today is an inventory-based report. On this report, we only have 1 filter. The filter is called customer. So here in this cell, we can insert a semicolon separated list of customers, or basically customer IDs. For the moment, I'm running the report for 3 customers. Down below, based on the selected customers, we're looking at all stock items that are listed under the selected customers on Acumatica's price list screen. Then for each stock item, we see the pseudo item as well, which is something that they use based on their business requirements. We also see the item description. And then on the right-hand side, it has 2 main sections. The first section, which is the inventory section, shows us the available inventory, but under different categories. So for each stock item, we're looking at the inventory on hand. We're looking at inventory allocated to sales order, shipped, not billed, inventory quarantined, so on and so forth. And then these are basically any inventory that are available in our warehouses. But on the right-hand side, we have a section called open purchase orders. What that translates to is the purchase orders that are submitted. So the request has been sent and the inventory has been sent to us but not delivered yet. So we see in front of each item how many of that item we're expecting to be receiving in the next few weeks. And then each of these numbers might translate to, for example, this number for this specific item, we're expecting to receive 11,000 and change in future. But this might translate to multiple purchase orders, and each of those purchase orders or shipments are expected to be delivered on a specific date. So we do the calculations based on all purchase orders that are supposed to be received, and that will translate to a date range. So on the right-hand side, the algorithm will automatically, based on the criteria that we select here, generate 1 week from the first ever date that we have, expected delivery date that we have on the open purchase orders, to the last expected delivery date. And then under each week, so this would be the first week that we're expecting to receive any delivery, and this would be the last one. And under each week, we see a total of inventory that we're expecting to receive during that date range. So for example, this item that we're expecting to receive 11,000 inventory, 5,000 of that is expected to be delivered during this date range, and 6,000 of it is expected to be delivered under this date range.
So to add to this too, just from a business perspective as well, of course, is that, this is using the GIs, and what he's able to do is just kind of use functions to do this, as opposed to using queries or whatnot. And it's very quick to be able to take a large amount of data, make it more manageable so that you can utilize it, just like this report is. But again, let's say you're using this for construction and you're focusing on all your leased equipment, excuse me. So maybe that's your bulldozers, your forklifts, what have you. But it's an easy way for you to kind of organize things so you can see everything, like the whole picture, but then also break it down into specifics so that maybe you know when those leases are coming up, and then you know what to do from there.
Thanks, Jeremy. Let me know if there are any questions in the chat. If not, I can start showcasing the next report. Thank you. The next report that I'd like to showcase today is a commission-based report. It goes without saying that commission in Acumatica, commission calculations in Acumatica, or even in general, could be done in multiple different ways. In this report, I've tried to implement certain filters that we've done our best to cover as many different scenarios as we could have, but at the end of the day, it might not be covering every single scenario that's being used in different Acumatica instances. So we have a few filters. We'll be reviewing those in the next couple of minutes. The first filter is a date selection basis. So we could decide if we would like to generate our commission report based on the payment date or based on invoice date, because there are clients who do their commission calculations based on when the invoice is being issued, and certain clients are doing the commission calculations based on payment related information. Then after we make our selection here, down below, we define the date range. Whatever we insert as for our from date and to date, the results will be generated for any transactions, AR transactions, that have happened during the selected date range. On the right-hand side, we do have a drop-down menu that allows us to select a salesperson and have the results generated for the selected salesperson. For the moment, I'm leaving it empty. It means that we're looking at the results regardless of salesperson, or basically for all salespersons. Another thing that we could define here, and it might be a rather complex topic on the Acumatica end, is the commission rate. In Acumatica, there are multiple ways to define the commission rate. So each salesperson could have a default commission rate, which is the third option here, salesperson default rate. Also on the salesperson screens, there's a tab in Acumatica that allows us to have one commission rate per combination of customer and salesperson. So that's the second option. And then after we defined all those default salesperson rates, when we're creating the AR transaction at the line and at each line of the AR transaction, we can simply override all those values with a line level commission rate. So here we decide which one of these commission rates we'd like to do the calculations based on. And then the last option allows us to decide in terms of dollar amount which value we'd like to consider for our calculations. The net sales means that we'd like to do the commission calculations based on net sales without considering the cost. The gross sales is basically considering the cost as well, and gross profit will consider sales, revenue, cost, and any discounts or anything else that will be applied afterwards. After we apply all the required filters, the report will be showing us a summary of, or well, I shouldn't call it a summary, a detailed level view on any transactions that fit into the selected categories. Then on the right-hand side, I don't want to bore you with the details that we see on the screen that may or may not be related to your requirements, but on the right-hand side, what we do here is that we see a summary per salesperson. So we have a unique list of salesperson ID and salesperson names for any salesperson that did have any transactions on the left-hand side. Then for each salesperson, based on all the filters that we've selected on the left-hand side, we see the total commission that the salesperson is supposed to receive. Then the goal from this point on will be to create the payments, the payouts, the commission payouts of our salespersons. In order to do that, we use one of Velixo's features called writeback, and more specifically, generic writeback. We have multiple writeback functionalities. The one that I'm using for this writeback scenario is called generic writeback. Generic writeback simply allows us to either create new records or modify the existing records in Acumatica directly from your Excel file. So what this process does, and I'm not sure if this file is connected at the moment or not, but we're going to try it together. So what this file does is that based on the total commission per salesperson, if I go to the Velixo ribbon and press the writeback button, it's going to go ahead and create one AP bill per salesperson for their commission payout. Let's see if that's going to go through. If we have the exact same document already in Acumatica, it might not go through, but I should have checked it before the call, but I think, okay, it has gone through successfully. So now the documents have been created. We also have a hyperlink that would direct us to the AP bill for each salesperson. So for example, this one, I'm going to select the second one. Steve is supposed to receive a payment of $17,000. I'm going to click on the hyperlink, and this will direct us to Acumatica. I need to log into our instance. And we're looking at the AP bill that was just created as a result of our writeback. It's going to be paid to Steve, and the amount of is $17,000 and change, as we've seen, exactly equal to the file. Everything else also being reflected from the file, but again, didn't want to bore you with details. Did you have any questions about this file?
There are no questions, but what I'd like to add, the whole idea with the write-back scenarios as well, and maybe Priya, if you could just show like one of the generic templates that we have, like maybe for like a PO or a sales order, that we normally have if you just drop it down from,
Of
if
course.
you just drop it down
Yeah.
from, thanks. So, and then I'll just speak to this. So, the whole idea is that if you are, say you have access to doing everything, say you're on the finance team and you can push back everything. Well, you also have the ability to use this internally or externally as a template. So if Perea goes ahead and selects one, you'll see that it's kind of got this nice little template for yourself. This is going to be reflective of what you have within Acumatica. Then what you could do is you could delegate that work. So you could say that could be someone on your team. That could also be someone that's, external, like I said. So that's where I was mentioning that having that whole idea of maybe having price lists or working with vendors or suppliers, what have you, where they can then fill that information. You could then review it before it gets pushed back because they don't have the ability to do so. So just the templates to make it so there's less errors, also can delegate some work. Again, kind of like that whole idea of using the drop-down menus. Okay, I'll be quiet. Go ahead, Maria.
Thank you, Jeremy. Assuming that we don't have any questions in the chat, I'm going to showcase the last file, which is a project-based report. Let me check real quick. Do we still have time? This might take a couple of minutes more than the. Okay. So this report covers the attempt here is to cover all different aspects of project reporting. You might see multiple tabs that aren't necessarily going to be useful based on your business requirements, but it does cover certain different aspects of project reporting. So on the main tab, we only have one filter, which allows us to select a specific status, and based on the status that we select here, we see all the projects that have that status as their status. So down below, we see some basic project related information. We see the project ID, project status, project manager, project description, start date. We could also have end date, which is not mentioned here. We have the branch that the project is working under, and then on the right-hand side, we have different categories. The goal here is to calculate some project budget related and actual information as well. So this section shows us the revenue budget. We see the original revenue budget, any change orders, and revised or final change order. You see that we do have change orders for certain projects down below. Then the next section is the same thing, but instead of revenue, for costs. So we're looking at cost budget, original budget, change orders, and revised budget. Then we're looking at the actual revenue under one column, and then for actual costs, we have different categories. We're looking at actual costs. We can see open committed costs for each project and also total cost. And then at the end, we calculate profit for per project, which is basically revenue minus cost. Then any other tabs that we have on this file could be specific to a project or even a project's task. So what I mean by that is that on the main tab, we could select a specific project ID, any of these projects, and then press this button which updates the project ID on the rest of the tabs. So the first tab is tasks. This tab will it's showing us basically the same report as the main tab, except now instead of having only one row per project, for the selected project, the project that we just selected on the main tab, we're looking at the same report with one row per task that is working under the selected project. Like anything else that we've discussed today, this report also works in a live manner and fully automatically. Means that for the moment, we're looking at this project, and these are the tasks that we currently have in the Acumatica instance under the selected project. If we create new tasks under this project in Acumatica, again, we just need to press the refresh button on the Velixo ribbon, and the new task will show up on the screen in just a few seconds with all the related values. The next tab, also all the following tabs are being generated per project. For the project that we selected on the main menu, on this tab, we're looking at the line level information, a detailed view of any purchase orders that have ever been recorded under the selected project. I'd like to mention something else, and that's the fact that you do also have the option to select a specific task on the task screen and press this button, which filters the rest of the reports on that specific task as well. So from this point on, any reports that we see could be filtered only on the project or on a specific combination of project and task as well. The next tab has a very similar structure, but instead of purchase orders, we're looking at any AP bills that are recorded under the selected project and or task. Then we could see all the line level information of AR invoices that are selected under the selected project. The same structure for change orders, and then change order by department, which is very specific to this client's account. And the last tab is any subcontracts that are recorded under the selected project. It seems like the project that I have just selected does not have any subcontracts under it. Do you have any questions about this report? Okay, thanks everyone for your time. I'm going to stop sharing and hand the mic over to Jeremy.
Oh, thanks for that. Leave me with a couple more minutes, eh? So really, there's a lot that you can do with Velixo. I mean, I've worked with probably about 15 plus years of experience just in reporting alone. So working with kind of large ERPs, but also Excel add-ins. So the kind of the big thing that kind of drew me to Velixo is the fact that it does have that great connection with Acumatica, with the API. And then you just have a lot of different functions that are available to you. So if you are looking and you've kind of had that ability to, you know, I shouldn't say have the ability, it's more or less, most people are going to be pushing their data from their ERP to Excel. So this is a way that you can kind of have more of that kind of Excel with accountability. That's kind of what I push to people so they kind of understand it, because you're not going to have all these people within your organization that are using Excel. You don't know what they're doing. At least now you know that they're connected to the data and that they're actually getting the ability to have that live and be refreshed whenever they need. It's kind of the big selling point on it. So in terms of what we've gone over today, kind of did a kind of a quick overview of Velixo, you know, how it can be utilized within your environment. We have, again, tons of resources that are available. Feel free to reach out to your representative. And then also, if you need any help from the Velixo side, we can also do that as well. We are going to produce for you a nice little goodie bag that does have a lot of samples, templates, some of these actual reports that we've looked at today. So some of the sample reports, we'll provide those for you as well. But yeah, we really just want you to be able to utilize the solution. We do have a trial version that is available if you do want to leverage that, so you can actually utilize your own data. If you do have any questions, just feel free to reach out. Oh, there we go. We got a question. I'm so excited. Thank you, Lori. How difficult are the reports to write? Do they feed off the existing GIs in Acumatica? So I'll start off with this, and then Priya can get dig more deep into it. So I am not like the most proficient person in Excel, but I know how to kind of manipulate things within Velixo quite easily. Like I can utilize the GIs and do all that very easily. That being said, it's very hard for us to determine what your level of Excel knowledge is. Like, you know, because a lot of people will just say they're a power user of Excel. But if you're used to doing like creating complex reports in Excel, this is going to be something that, like I said, is very easy to pick up. May only take you a couple of days to just kind of play around with the functions, see how they're used, and then you can actually build out reports. You know, that being said, we have all of these buckets, as I said, which are really there to make it so you can be successful. So we have a ton of self-serve resources, but we also have the ability to provide you with training and also report building. So, you know, I would be shocked if you are, you know, if you are considered a power user of Excel, and you know, it would take you more than like a month to kind of pick something up if you did say the training to start off with.
Thanks, Jeremy. I would like to add a quick comment to that. Lori, thanks for your question. The shortest answer to your question is yes, you can definitely use the existing GIs, pull the values from the existing GIs into your Excel file using Velixo. That's definitely yes. I'd also like to add another comment to that, and that's the fact that if if you're ever thinking about building a new report and you don't already have a GI for it in Acumatica, if the plan is to use that GI for a Velixo-based report, the GI on the Acumatica side could be much simpler than it needs to be. It could be just a simple view on a certain portion of your data, because you could take care of all your calculations, formatting related things, summarization, many things on the Excel end. You just need to build a simple GI that points you to the table that you need to retrieve the data from, and you could apply your filtering, your summarization, your grouping, everything on the Excel side, because Velixo allows you to pull the data from Acumatica. You just need to have a GI in Acumatica. But if you're supposed to do the same thing using a GI directly in Acumatica, you needed to implement parameters, filters, anything in terms of summarization, grouping, and so on and so forth. So that's also a difference that you might want to consider.
Are there any other
questions?
questions? Yeah. Give it a second or two. All right. Well, if there are no other questions, we really appreciate your time today. I know everyone's busy, and we do appreciate it. And again, if you do have any questions after the fact, feel free to reach out to us. We're here to help out. And yeah, have a great day, everyone.
Yeah, thanks everyone for joining. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And yeah, appreciate the questions that were asked by the audience. So, Velixo guys, thanks for joining the PC Bennett webinar. I always appreciate it. We'll try and do another one next year.
Absolutely.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Thanks so much.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.